Now, on Rogue Traders, we've spoken before about the difference between an engineer and a salesman. An engineer is there to tell you the truth about your problem and then fix it in the best and cheapest way possible. Salesmen sell things. They often operate on commission. The more it costs you, the more they make. Now, imagine a company that puts a salesman in between you and the engineer you need to fix your car. What could possibly go wrong? As a business, Servicing Stop of Enfield couldn't have had a better start back in 2009.
Hello, Dragons. My name's Oliver Richmond, and this is my brother, Toby. Together, we run Servicing Stop.
We have around 600 garages across the UK that carry out service, repairs and MOTs. Customers use us because we're affordable, convenient, and because we have fixed, transparent service costs. On average, we're 30 to 50% cheaper than the main dealer.
In fact, Servicing Stop's prices seem almost too good to be true, offering MOTs for just £24 and a full service for, on average, just £98. 3 Dragons offered to invest in the business, with Deborah Meaden making the best offer. But they turned her down. How daft is that? I've often thought of just coming up with some kind of business proposal so I could be turned down by Deborah Meaden. Talking of which, this is Voicerize. It's a mobile phone which exfoliates while you chat. Hi, Mum. Deborah, call me. So the Dragons are out of the picture, but how does the business actually work? Well, when your car needs a service, instead of calling your local garage, you call Servicing Stop. The company picks up your car and delivers it to a local garage, one of a network they use nationwide. The garage decides what work needs to be done and then submits a report to Servicing Stop. One of their service advisors, who get paid commission, by the way, then pass on to you the good or bad news. Sadly, it appears that someone in this setup has been misbehaving. And Servicing Stop's bad behaviour starts on its website, which offers customers an incredible 60% off main dealer prices if they book by the end of the day. Except this offer seems to be available every single day. The clock simply resets. Misleading offers like this are against the law. But Servicing Stop doesn't stop there. Just ask Chris Owen, who got a nasty surprise when he booked his mega-reliable Volvo in for an MOT and service with Servicing Stop.
I'm not mechanically minded, but I knew it didn't need new tyres. And the guy was saying to me it needs new tyres. And eventually I said, how much is all this going to cost me? And he said, north of £800.
The first notification you get is that they've carried out a full service. It's going to cost you more than 800 quid, and your car's being effectively held to ransom.
It was.
Unless you're going to pay that money.
It was.
Chris refused to pay for the extra work and instead took his car to a Volvo specialist, who carried out the repairs and an MOT for just £185. Nothing like the 800 quid quoted by Servicing Stop.
Having got the evidence now from my specialist garage, I'm now really, really annoyed that they really tried to rip me off at the time they rang me. It's clearly a rip-off in my layman's head that they are taking cars in, then ringing you with a list of faults, expecting you to say, yes, carry on with the work and get your car back, if you were to agree it.
But how can we know for certain that Servicing Stop are up to no good? That they're getting their network of garages to carry out work that doesn't need doing? If only there was someone in the middle of the process that we could talk to. A garage. Hello, a garage. Simon Webb is a garage owner who, until January, did work for Servicing Stop for 4 years. He says the company's service advisors kept pressuring him to carry out unnecessary extra work.
When I say extras, I'm talking predominantly about the brake fluid, the fuel treatment and the engine flush. Those 3 things I would always try and get out of a customer. If I put it into percentage, probably 80% of the time, maybe more. Quite often, we'd get calls before the car's to be returned, saying they wanted this doing, and that's when we started to say, no, it doesn't need doing. Frequently had arguments, big arguments as well. including threats that they're going to take us off the system, to which we responded, go ahead, no problem, because we knew they couldn't get anybody else in the area who would put up with us.
Time then to test out the company for ourselves by sticking our own car into the servicing stop machine to see what pops out. Meanwhile...
Summon a stooge. A stooge on a luge. Your job, should you choose to accept it, and you do, is to go and find yourself a role at Servicing Stop of Enfield. And please don't confuse it with other firms that may have the same or similar sounding names, because it will make it hell to do your travel expenses. Now, go, you who shall be known as Anna, and find a role in customer services.
Find a role she does, and she's making friends already.
Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Yes, somewhere at Servicing Stop, there's a link in the chain that's causing us pain. The Richmond brothers don't seem to have got the message. You can sell or you can help. Blur the boundary and it starts to go wrong. How wrong? Until you see it, you won't believe it. Next, back to rogue traders. And a glorious start on Dragon's Den should have meant great things for Servicing Stop, the business baby of brothers Ollie and Toby Richmond. But they turned the Dragons down, and now a raft of customer complaints has us asking where it all went wrong. We're about to put our finger on exactly where. With a stooge undercover, it seems like the Dragons narrowly avoided getting burned. Stooge Anna is undercover at the headquarters of Servicing Stop in Enfield. Meanwhile, we've booked our favourite Stooge car in for an MOT and service with Servicing Stop, who quoted us £96.95. But this is no ordinary car. You see, it's been checked top to bottom by the best testers in town. MOT tester Mike O'Sullivan and automotive engineer assessor Mark Brown. To check out whether Servicing Stop do a proper service, they leave a few wheel nuts loose and tyre pressures low. Apart from that, they reckon our car doesn't need a thing doing to it.
For £96.95, there shouldn't really be any additional cost on top of that.
They shouldn't find anything else untowards with the vehicle. The vehicle should be OK.
Crystal clear. Servicing Stop collect our car and we await the good news.
So I had the report come back through from the guys in the workshop regarding the service.
Got it. Right here, ready and waiting.
It's just two things they've mentioned, which is the fuel filter, OK, and they've recommended a fuel treatment as well.
What?
Fuel filter, the fuel treatment and the service itself comes in at $209.50.
How much? And Servicing Stop make it clear that the work needs to be done.
Are these essential for, the running of the car?
Well, yes, well, they are, to be fair, because obviously if you do get, potentially get a fuel filter gets blocked up, you can end up with the vehicle lacking power, the emissions being too high. Worst case, obviously, the next day, you could end up potentially breaking down.
Breaking down the very next day? This sounds serious.
There's no reason why the car should break down if that fuel filter wasn't changed.
OK, that's not serious then. And remember what they said when they turned down the Dragons.
On average, we're 30 to 50% cheaper than the main dealer.
Well, not today, Toby, because Servicing Stop charges a whopping £77 for a new fuel filter and £54 for a fuel treatment.
The fuel filter is twice as expensive as a main agent would charge, and the fuel treatment 4 times as expensive.
And when our experts get the vehicle back, they can tell basic safety checks, brakes, tightening the loose nuts and tyre pressure hadn't been properly done.
It surprises me that they've not carried out such fundamentally important work like taking the wheels off to check the brakes, and checking the tyre pressures is the most basic job on a service.
So, they carried out repairs we didn't need, they overcharged and gave us a shoddy service, leaving our car in a potentially dangerous state. Great job, guys.
Time then for Stooge Anna to find out what's going on at Servicing Stop headquarters. Watching on to give his opinion is Mark Weston, a commercial and business lawyer with 25 years' experience in the field. First up, Anna notices that almost every customer is charged an extra £24 plus VAT for synthetic oil, or as Servicing Stop describe it, specialist oil. But just how specialist is it?
Generally, all cars after 2006 or 8 require the fully synthetic oil.
Oh, do they?
So it's one of them kind of marketing things to make it testing, like, if it's required. 9 times out of 10 it will be required.
Not specialist then. What does Mark think?
If in fact it's needed 9 times out of 10, how specialist is it? It's actually illegal to be misleading or put something across to a consumer in a misleading way, when in fact it's not really specialist, is it?
Now, we're still wondering why our stooge car got such a shoddy service. Anna is in customer services, so we need another stooge, Nick, who can find out how Servicing Stop picks the outsourced garages to send our cars to. Just to be clear, the company claims it's put in place quality checks with each garage.
How do we find the garages?
So we have many different ways we do it. It could be as simple as a Google search.
Google sounds rigorous.
Like, I wouldn't go out and visit the garages in person or anything like that.
Yeah, we are office-based. We have tried some field work.
Yeah.
We might go back into that again.
Yeah.
But we find it's not always successful.
There's nothing wrong with choosing them in a random way, but if they're telling people that they're vetting them, they have to vet them, and they're clearly not vetting them.
Next up is prices. Does Servicing Stop really deliver the unbeatable vehicle repair prices it claims? Not according to some of its own workers. Take, for example, a brake fluid change.
Their sale price is okay, but by the time you go into all the additional works, the prices are a rip-off. Like, they're charging people for brakes for like 60-something quid, and the customer can get it elsewhere for 10 quid.
And it seems Servicing Stop can simply make up the prices as they go along. Just look what we've got hold of.
Servicing Stop's own training manual here.
It tells staff sales advisors will need to use their own discretion when calculating customer prices. If you put too much on a job, then it won't get agreed. If you put too little, you won't make any commission.
They're I wouldn't get my car serviced by these.
Wow, they don't put that on the adverts.
Yeah, she's unconvinced, I think.
I think that's putting it somewhat mildly. If you're relying on the fact that you're going to these people because they're telling you, we will give you a good price, and in fact you're being overcharged.
Finally, we need to get the lowdown on claims that Servicing Stop's service advisors tell customers they need repairs that aren't necessary. Oh, here's a service advisor now. These people never see customers' cars and yet are on commission to sell extra repairs.
With some of the other boys here, don't mislead, don't slippery, don't unique, done and all that. Steal from their own nose. Absolutely. So the people that make the targets and top bonuses and things like that, they're the rippers, mate.
So do you think some people do sell things that don't need, are needed?
Yeah, of course. But that's it. You leave your conscience at the door, you're told.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. I mean, so he's effectively saying there that there are people in that room who will sell you things you don't need.
That's right. The law specifically says that if they try and tell you you need something, a part, a service, a repair, or something like that, and that's untrue, that's illegal. We're at the odd rogue salesperson. OK, it may not be an endemic problem in the company, but by being something that everybody seems to know about, clearly there's a cultural problem there as well.
Wow, dynamite. And it's backed up in the Servicing Stop training manual. Look, no car should go to payment with just a service, and no advisories on the report. There is always something that can be sold. They're in black and white. Staff have to sell you things, even if you don't need them.
Even some of Servicing Stop's own staff aren't happy about it. Check out what they say about those devilish service advisors.
What do you mean? Like, they're all just there and they don't care. Like, they're just trying to get money. They all roll in money. Obviously, the directors love them because they're bringing in the money.
And lots of it, according to this manager.
It's growing year on year.
Yeah.
Turnover's probably 20-25 million, so it's crazy.
Crazy or just crooked?
I think we found our problem. The service care department at Servicing Stop is full of salesmen who are on a mission to make commission. They'll use your car to drive up the bill, but this journey has a sticky end. We're exacting Meaden's revenge in around 15 minutes. Back to Road Traders now. Servicing Stop was supposed to be a business model which got your car serviced while you went to work, but it turns out it's not just your car that's getting serviced. Their salesmen are making thousands of pounds by lying to you about your car and bump-starting the bill from tens to hundreds. Servicing Stop is a company that effectively started on television, on a television programme.
They're so proud of that they still advertise it on their website. You would have thought that they'd want to come on another television programme. After all, that's what we're offering them the opportunity to do. And yet they don't seem to want to. Maybe it's because we are not asking in the right way. That's what it's all about. But if you're going to invite somebody, then you need to invite them properly. You know, you need to do it in person, with an invitation. Something like this. I mean, this kind of ticket doesn't come along very often. They can come on television and explain to everybody, that's you, me, everybody, that in fact they aren't running a company that makes up repairs and rips off their customers. A silver ticket. Just going to deliver this to Servicing Stop, to Oliver and Toby. It's an invitation for them to join us on our programme on BBC Watchdog tomorrow night.
Oh, right. So you're BBC Watchdog?
We are BBC Road Traders, part of Watchdog. We'd like this to be handed to them, to invite them onto our programme.
Well, you can go straight up anyway, but I haven't seen them today.
OK, but someone up there would take this from us. It's just an invitation.
Oh, yes, of course. They're on the second floor.
Could you pass that to Oliver and Toby? It's an invitation.
I can do. They're actually not here at the moment.
That's fine.
So...
If you can convey its message to them, which is an invitation to come on our programme tomorrow night, in Manchester.
I can assure you I'll give it to them.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your help. Right, see you again. Bye-bye. Well, sadly, the Richmond brothers still declined our invitation, but, I mean, surely we're not as scary as Dragon's Den, huh? They did send a statement, though. They say Servicing Stop works with a network of more than 1,500 approved garages to provide customers with a convenient and cost-effective way of servicing their cars. They say they have a proven track record of keeping customers happy, with more than 97% satisfied last year. They maintain their team advises on additional work that's recommended by garages, with a full cost breakdown provided, and there is no obligation for this work to be done. They acknowledged problems occasionally arise, but say when made aware of them, they always address them head-on, suspending garages that fall short of its standards until issues are resolved. They've suspended the garage we went to and offered a full refund. Servicing Stop's lawyers have also sent a long letter saying, we've got it all wrong. They maintain they're not breaking the law, they conduct thorough checks on garages, and that they don't mislead customers, overcharge or sell unnecessary parts or work. Well, we'd love to hear your experiences with Servicing Stop, either as a customer, a garage, or if you've worked there. Incidentally, the Dragon's Den team has reiterated that while the company met all the criteria to appear on the programme, no investment from the Dragons went ahead and the business has no association with either Dragon's Den or Deborah Meaden.